So too, that policy which is falling apart before our very eyes, which was a sugar hit for an announcement in a very low energy launch for the Labor Party. And it is, of course, that disastrous, ridiculous policy when it comes to the federal government owning up to 40% of your home. You'd have to pay them back, and you'd have to pay them back even more than they lent you, because apparently that's the way Albo Bank is going to work. Now, Chris Kenny beautifully pointed this out on his show today, but I have to show it to you again about how this bloke is using his shadow ministers as human shields. Watch him not answer detail on his own stupid idea.
Okay, just back on housing. Sure. Given Labor's focus on affordable housing, wouldn't a fair way of dealing with it be for people like you, Mr Albanese, who own 3 or 4 properties to sell to create a bigger pool of housing which would lower prices? At the moment, you and others are getting tax breaks on properties.
I'm happy to hear. Albo can supplement. Yeah, sure, but Albo can supplement. Look, this is not about...
Rita Panhehy wrote beautifully about this in the Herald Sun today. Please go and find it, because it absolutely skewers this stupid idea that the government should own part of your house. And I'll get to the absolute clangor of Richard Marles in a second. But again, the Prime Minister knows you don't want to bet your house on Albo.
There are questions about this. So what happens if you decide to renovate your home? I mean, what Labor have been very clear about is they have a share in your home, and so as your home value increases, they're making money off you. So as your home price goes up, your home value goes up, they are taking a cut. And so you have to pay the government back on their equity and with the capital appreciation.
That's the truth. Albo Bank wants back more than they allegedly will give you to get your home. Now let's talk about Richard Marles. When he's not handing off his homework to China, and he was conveniently off the campaign trail once he started to become a problem with COVID. Apparently COVID isn't bad enough for him not to be doing interviews. But I tell you what, people in Labor HQ might be saying, mate, could you start coughing a bit more? Because have a listen to this. This bloke wants to be the Deputy Prime Minister of the country.
If during the course of their life they acquire wealth, which means they themselves no longer qualify for the scheme, well, then in that circumstance, they would need to be buying out the government, and that's fair. So it puts them on the same footing as anyone else who has means. And that's the way it would apply in relation to their children. So children who have means, want to keep the house in the family, that can be done.
What if they can't afford it, though?
Well, the point of this scheme is to provide an option for people who face a lifetime of rental. This actually gives people an option. If the home if the child qualifies, the home gets passed on. That's simple.
Yeah, that's fine.
If the child doesn't qualify,
but yeah, this is the crux here.
If the child doesn't qualify, well, then those kids would have those kids would have an option of buying the government out.
This is not a small mistake, people. But did you see this on your 6 p.m. news tonight? Of course not. Protection racket, Labor's going to win. Let's be very clear. If you qualify for the scheme and then got a different job or got a promotion, you would then have to pay back $380,000 straight away to the federal government. If the person who qualified for the scheme passed away and you inherited it, and you got a promotion, you would have to hand the government $380,000. Or when you sell the house, you have to give the government $380,000 before you get anywhere near your inheritance. This was a massive stuff up today, because it's an admission of the flaw in the scheme. Can I repeat the question you must ask yourself before going to the polls? Would you bet your house on Albo? No freaking way.